The courtroom in Cleveland, Ohio is quiet, but the air feels heavy. Everyone knows why they're here. Michael Madison, a convicted serial killer, stands before the judge after being found guilty of murdering and mutilating 3 young women. His sentence will decide how the rest of his life ends. But before the judge speaks, one man steps forward, Van Terry, the father of one of the victims. He walks to the podium, only a few feet away from the man who stole his daughter's life, Sherelda. His voice shakes with grief, but his message is sharp. He refuses to pretend this pain can be forgiven easily, calling Madison a clown who destroyed families and took his child. The courtroom listens as Terry locks eyes with the killer, delivering words no parent should ever have to say. Then, without warning, Terry reaches out and strikes Madison. Gasps echo, followed by applause from the gallery. Officers move quickly, but the moment has already landed. A father, overwhelmed by years of grief, makes his pain visible in a single act. Surprisingly, he is released without charges. Minutes later, the courtroom settles again as Judge Nancy McDonald delivers Madison's punishment, the death penalty. Madison is sent to Ohio's death row, where he will remain for the rest of his life. In another courtroom, this time in Kentucky, a domestic violence hearing unfolds between former spouses. A husband asks for protection from his ex-wife, Melissa Hardwick. But as he begins explaining the escalating threats and arrests, Melissa explodes, interrupting the judge and refusing to stay silent. The judge warns her, but she keeps shouting. Within seconds, she's held in contempt and sentenced to 10 days in jail. Months later, she pleads guilty to intimidation and avoids more jail by entering a 5-year rehabilitation program, while the protective order remains in place. Sometimes the most explosive courtroom moments don't come from criminals. They come from family disputes that boil over in seconds. In Russell and Wayne County Family Court in Kentucky, a man stands before a judge asking for a domestic violence order against his ex-wife, Melissa Hardwick. The judge confirms the facts. They were once married, they share children, and the husband is requesting a restraining order to stop Melissa from contacting him. Under oath, the man agrees his petition is truthful and tells the court he wants legal protection. When the judge asks him to explain what happened in his own words, the husband begins carefully. He says the situation has been escalating since the start of the year. He mentions that Melissa has had multiple arrests and has been in and out of jail. According to him, after she got out in April, their interactions became more personal and more tense. He tries to continue, but he doesn't get far. Melissa suddenly interrupts from her seat, loudly declaring that their personal life is none of the court's business. The judge immediately warns her to stop and tells her she will be held in contempt if she continues disrupting the hearing. Instead of calming down, Melissa doubles down. She says she doesn't care, insists she hasn't done anything to the court, and denies doing anything wrong to her ex-husband. Her defiance leaves the judge no choice. In a firm voice, the judge orders her arrest for contempt of court. Melissa is sentenced to 10 days in jail, and officers move in to take her away. Even as she's being restrained, she continues shouting and resisting, showing no sign of backing down. The courtroom shifts from a protective order hearing to a full enforcement scene, all because she refused to follow the judge's instructions. The consequences don't stop at 10 days. Melissa ends up spending nearly 5 months in jail before pleading guilty to intimidating a participant in a legal process. She avoids more jail time only by agreeing to a court-ordered diversion or rehabilitation program for 5 years. And the emergency protective order remains in place, meaning she is still legally prohibited from contacting her ex-husband. One outburst turned a courtroom warning into a life-changing reality.